Money, sir.
How are you, Mr. Brother?
How is it, sir?
How is the
campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr. All right, I've just tweeted at followers on Twitter now, telling them about the fact that a social media consultant by the name Stephen OGUNTOYINBO is joining us now on set. Good morning, Stephen. Thank you for joining us today on Call Digest.
It's my pleasure being here.
That's exactly what millions of Nigerian youths do every morning. Many people don't even pray; they just carry their phones and then they are pinking, anything pinkable. But the dimension to this would be the impact that this new media has on politics in Nigeria, especially now that we count down to a major election. Have you in any way identified the connection at this time?
Well, for years I've been involved in training and teaching social media, but my own aspect is how do you effectively use social media platform to impact lives, or to not impact lives alone, to better off whatsoever you're doing, both economically, both politically, both spiritually. Because you see now we have the digital church, we have the digital market. And for me, really, is the result. I teach a lot of the practical aspect of what do you use social media for. And coming to politics, in the new age that we are, the 2015 election is coming up, and you see that the international community eyes are all set towards Nigeria. And you'll see that from the case study of what has been going on in a part of the world in terms of some revolutionary mobilization or campaign that's been taking place in Egypt, and what happened in Nigeria during the fuel subsidy. You see one thing that was like a key influencer to the national change was the power of social media. Not even traditional media, but traditional media complements the new media age. I think the social media is one key area, one key factors that everybody is holding on to. You saw what happened some few weeks ago during the social media week. There were different angles which it's been breaking into complexes, the economical, the political aspect, and you see even the president. You see at the Twitter of the president, you saw what happened, the transformation that happened in the presidency some few weeks ago to election, that the social media advisor to the president was sacked, and a new person was brought into power was brought into position to handle the social media. But how effective is this social media?
We're going to get there, but I also want us to look at the content, of what we see daily on Twitter, on Facebook, on the YouTube, and all of that. Because unlike traditional media, where everything you say is sanctioned, and then there is one NBC that ensures that all of this. How would you describe the attitude of this new media users, especially politically? Because
the social media space does not have a gatekeeper. And that the gatekeeper is a key sensitive word. Who is the gatekeeper? Who is filtering the information being passed? I saw over time that a lot of people are passing comments to themselves, both in the entertainment world, and they're exchanging words, vulgar words to themselves. It's just because there is no gatekeeper that is filtering what is being passed, and there is no regulatory body. And there is monitoring what is supposed to be said, what word is supposed to be used, what word is not supposed to be used. I think that there is no gatekeeper, but I always say to anybody I teach is using the common sense approach. And the common sense approach is something I think in a civilized age that we are, that there is no civilized person or no civilized organization or no civilized individual will be exchanging words and not minding the context and the construction of what is being put down. And that's something, because there's no gatekeeper, everybody just go on the social media platform with that influence and impact on everything that's been said. So I think that the gatekeeper is just it's just the innate.
Well, you know, to an extent, you know, all the social media platforms also do have administrative panel that seem to, one way or the other, sieve out some vulgar content and the rest. But does it in any way reflect the kind of quality of moral that is, you know, visible or that now persists here in Nigeria?
But from the political perspective now, I've monitored both different political parties exchange of words, and in terms of saying this, I've watched their videos on different channels and different platforms, and I see that for me as a person, sometimes I watch a video and I saw the exchange, the caliber of exchange of words by so-called leaders.
They call it hate speeches.
Speeches and text in terms of tweeting at themselves and tweeting at their handles. I say it is not an emulation that a lot of younger generations should be looking up to, because should be following their trend in terms of I see a leader trending and tweeting and exchanging words to themselves. And I say, what are this younger generation learning from these people? And do you understand what I'm saying? So the truth about it is, they themselves should, the orientation value system, and not even, there is a value system, but most of them know there is a standard and value system that is supposed to be, will I say, obtained by them. But in a mindset of any young person who wants to come to any key leadership position, both at the local level, both at the regional level, and both at the national level.
I understand that the world is gradually becoming a global village, and then you can have what Kim Kardashian said this morning popping up on the screen of your phone. But you know, when we localize it, a special assistant to the president once said that the real voters are not on social media. Do you agree with him?
I totally take an exemption to that, because the real voters are young, not the younger generation, because everybody is trying, they are reawakening, they have this reawakening system. You see every individual, even a market woman, even have a phone. And there is text message platforms. There are text message platforms. I as probably, if I take myself as a market, as a trader, and I get a text message talking about this political party planning to do this for my market, I would have to ask myself a question that I think I can vote this person. So I think the reawakening system in terms of the orientation value system is that the people are on the platform. Everybody uses a phone. And nobody uses, everybody uses one Android phone or the other. Everybody, Nigerians are rated as the people who use the most expensive phone in the world. And even a market woman wants to use a phone, a BlackBerry, that doesn't know the function of a BlackBerry. So I think that the system is there. And I can say, I take an exception that the voters are not on most of these gadgets. I see most of them using social media.
Do you think that the political parties, there are about 26 of them participating in this election?
But we have 26. But how effective are the 26? We all have registered in our mindset. We were doing a debate, there was a debate. And on Sunday, and somebody said to me, I said, there's only 2 political parties that we know, which you know too. And we don't know all these people. But the truth about it is I've observed and I've been part of the process of almost all the debates from the state level and the federal level. And I see that the Nigerians' eyes have been popped to 2 political parties.
I was getting there that how come these other parties, or let's just say even all of them, how much of how have they really, you know, used that avenue of the social media platform to publicize their agenda for the Nigerian electorate? I've consulted with some of them, and I sat down with some of their social media consultants, and how effective are they using the social media space? If you take up your phone, you see some messages that pop on your phone that says, vote for this, vote for that. And these are platforms that these people are leveraging on. They are different platforms that a lot of people can use in convincing the average Nigerians about
who to vote for. But how many of them are using those platforms? How many of them are effectively using those platforms? There are some that are heavily funded. They are heavily funded to use all the social media platforms in terms of from the Skype, from the Twitter to the Facebook to the YouTube to the BlackBerry ad, and all those platforms are effectively used, and there are a lot of platforms, Vimeo, and all those platforms being used effectively in passing out the message, apart from using the traditional media and also using pasting of posters on the streets. And some of them are even using the automated voice notes that you pick up your phone and then say, vote for this so individual is the best part, and then you cut off your phone. But it's registering in your mind at that time. But some of them are effectively using almost all the social media space in creating more awareness. But some of them, maybe because of lack of funds, maybe because of lack of funds, they are not using the social media platforms. So I think there are social media platforms that people can use in terms of creating awareness about their individual political parties.
I see where you're coming from, but let's also begin to look at how Nigerians have been able to utilize all these platforms, because you see people holding different... Hello, good morning. We have a caller online. What's your name and where are you calling from? What's your name? Are you there?
I'm calling from Ikeja.
What's your name, please?
Yeah, I'm there.
I need to turn down the volume of your TV set. Can you do that?
Wale.
Wale, turn down the volume of your TV set and go ahead with your contribution.
So my name is Wale.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. My name is Wale.
Wale, go ahead. I'm with you. I'm afraid we lost that. You might have to call me back when you're ready to turn down completely your TV set so we can do without the feedback distortion. Everybody goes around with mobile devices. I have 3 of them on set right now. But what percentage of Nigerians have really been able to utilize, economically the advantages, that these devices have to offer?
Averagely, I always use this example when I teach, saying that it's just for you to be in a desert, and then you find a lion coming to you, and then you have a pump action with you, and then you're still running for help, having a pump action, and then you're still running for help. Whereas you can just take the pump action and then shoot at the lion and probably kill the lion or scare him away or scare the lion away. But a lot of them have a loaded gun with them, not knowing how to effectively use. It's just like somebody running a small-scale business and saying that my business is not growing. I can tell you, I have been able to grow my business using the power of my phone. And this is something that we're in the tech world, we're in the global village. And I can tell you categorically, this is something technology have been able to help my business, and it has taken me to almost 7 continents in the world. But the truth about it is just like a lot of people have this technology and they just use it for fancy's sake. I use this brand of phone that just came out in 2015. And how many of them can effectively use most of the app on this phone? There are a lot of app. Even talking about the media world, I see quite a number of bloggers and I ask them, use this kind of phone, but what do you do with this? With this kind of phone they're using. You're using this kind of brand of phone, but there are a lot of things. I was in the office and I was speaking to an organization. I said, oh, you use this kind of phone, but do you know that you can do virtual live streaming using this phone, that you don't need any big gadget to do live streaming? But a whole lot of them do not know about these applications and knowing the appliances that they are using.
Let's begin to look at how we can take advantage of this social media platform, especially on Saturday, at a time where the security of the people is one of major concerns to Nigerians, especially now that we're talking about the role of the Nigerian police and the Nigerian military and all of these. Many are beginning to suggest that maybe all these gadgets can come handy for citizen journalism, where people can go to the polls and capture certain things and upload them. But are we there yet, where people are that quite proactive to, utilize these things.
But I would like to say something because of the last term. The civil society have tried their best. A lot of civil society have tried their best in terms of tracking and monitoring the election. What I'll share the experience of the Osun election. That was the most fantastic election I have seen. That the social media space have been effectively used. I remember what happened in Osun in one local government, and somebody said, "Oh, a phone has just been hijacked by a certain armed force, or probably one of the probably the police," and tweeted at almost the Nigerian police, and tweeted at this and tweeted at that, and they said which word, and they were asking which word, and he mentioned the word that it has been snatched, and before you know it, the police were there and asking, okay, and he tweeted immediately and said, my phone has been released back to me. But if there was no social media space, and he tweeted at different international organizations, and before you know it, they were retweeting and retweeting, and you know what happened at, I guess when Obieze Kweselu was traveling during the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, he was traveling on, was it British Airways? It was traveling, and then she was hijacked at the airport. And then immediately they tweeted it, and they tweeted at the BBC tweeted at most of the international community, and immediately the government announced that the plane must not leave without her. And she was being, from economy, she was being elevated to sit down in first class. And it's to tell you that the power of social media has come to stay. Talk about the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. The international community eyes was set on this Nigeria and saying that unless they will bring back these girls,
the hashtag
bring back our girls. But this hashtag was created by just one individual young Nigerian. And before you know it was a viral thing. But in coming to the context of this election, that we can be like a watchdog and everybody. There are different hashtags. There are different hashtags that are being created by different bodies. And hashtag the Nigerian Decide. You can follow the Nigerian police. And then you can talk about different things that's going on, different
polls. Live
you
on
can now
Twitter,
tweet. You can tweet and say, "Oh, I am at the polling center now at 9 a.m. The ballot box are not being brought," and tweet at the handles of great Nigerians who are doing interesting things in terms of social change. And then before you know it, take pictures. You know, there are gadgets that are being set up. There are glasses that you can use, and then you can take videos of what is going on. I have those glasses, and I can put on the glass, and I can just be at the polling center, and I'm taking pictures with my remote. And these are and nobody's going to know.
You know, Stephen, it sounds so sweet and smooth. Yeah. But are we also considering the challenges like the network provider, where you are, for many people going back to the villages to vote and all of that? Is it that smooth for us yet in this part of the world?
I think that is a big challenge. But we hope they would not discourage us like the fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy, 1 week break that we had, and we're all at Ojota. And I think the international community's eyes are set on Nigeria to put this great country into shape. And you remember what happened some few weeks ago when the international journalists were not being issued visa to come into Nigeria. And I was with some international media houses and some international media organizations, and they were complaining. And then you see later they were allowed to come to Nigeria with the power of social media, complaining online. So I think
I'm getting signals that we're joined now by our correspondent who is in River State, Port Harcourt. Biola, are you there? Good morning, Biola. All right, you're welcome. Let's quickly have the mood. You're at the INEC headquarters in Port Harcourt and River State. What's the mood like there ahead preparations for the Saturday presidential election?
Right now, President Electoral Commissioner in Rivers and the event was witnessed by the Commissioner for Police, Madam Basuri, the presence of every presence of mobile policemen at the INEC secretary as well. What is what we have here now? The handing over, immediately after the handing over, the INEC is now putting everything for the of the material.
Have you in? Yes, I'm with you, Biola. What about the security situation in that area? Many are.
I just told you now that this president, every president of mobile police in order to portray this down.
It's all right. You also met with the resident electoral commissioner of River State yesterday. Can you confirm whether any sensitive materials have arrived in that part of the country?
I think the INEC president electoral
Biola, I'm afraid that I'll have to call you back. The audio quality is quite bad. I can hardly hear you, but be sure that we'll get back to you in Port Harcourt and find out what the details are and preparations ahead the Saturday general election. You recall the River State is one of those 3 states highlighted by the NHRC as violence prone during these rescheduled election. You recall the violence that rocked the Okrika APC campaign. There were some reported blast in the APC secretariat and quite a number of unpleasant reports from that region for days preceding the election, and we're hopeful that all eyes will be on Rivers this time, and indeed all of these will be brought to the Minneha. Stephen, we have to wrap up now, but beyond all of these challenges, of course, we have been able to identify that there are challenges, but on the other side, we've also been able to identify that there are enough potentials that Nigerians can tap into for the elections. But let's begin to look at how we judge, and verify the information that are being assessed or accessed on this platform. Do you think that we've been able to develop such judgment that can tell the truth, from the propaganda?
Well, it depends on the source at which you're getting your information. For me, if I want to get the real right source information, I wouldn't want to mention names of platforms, but there are credible platforms that people, I hear that they tweet to me and they tweet at my handle and they say probably I check their handles or I check their blogs and I can see that, oh, this guy is very credible in terms of the source of news that he's providing to me or providing to the audience. I think that there are different platforms. There are some people who just want to create awareness for themselves out of nowhere. But I think that there are people who can give you news, and there are some reliable source that you can check in terms of getting news. And there are some tweets that I get, and I say, okay, oh, this tweet is one right tweet I can always depend on. But there are some tweets that I can, I don't know where the source is coming from. But I think that we ourselves can be gatekeepers. And it's just like you hearing, there's fighting, there's chaos, that 20 people are being killed in Bono. I need to pick up my phone and I need to confirm that before I start spreading the news that 20 people have died. So it's just for us as Nigerians to be very vigilant and be a news filter ourselves.
Unfortunately, they say
the wrong news.
They say bad news sell. So everybody, the moment you get that tweet that scores of people died,
a BlackBerry broadcast message.
People, on the contrary, want to be the first to break the news, not the first to verify it. How did we get there?
Like the last election, we run an online radio for an organization that was sponsoring us, and we called it the Youth Are Talking 2011 election. And we were running this election, and you remember we were running this online radio platform, and then we got calls from different places. So there's so going on here, there's so going on here. And I remember when the breaking news came up that the presidential election, remember the presidential election was cancelled. And we got the breaking news from immediately the breaking news came in, and we have to wait for some few minutes to confirm, because it was on channels that the breaking news saying that the presidential election is going to be cancelled and postponed to the following week. But I think, like I said to you, that we ourselves are gatekeepers in terms of getting the right information and verifying those informations if they are genuine or they are propagandas. So I think we ourselves should be gatekeepers and hearing from the source. If I want to get news, I know the platform that I can get genuine news. So it's just for you as we as Nigerians should reawaken and be very conscious. And on Saturday, let's just come out and vote our conscience and vote for the right person and shun violence.
Stephen OGUNTOYINBO is a social media consultant. Thank you very much for joining us today on Core Digest. Well, the bottom line is that the social media is getting fired up by the day. Many people getting interested and, putting their heads together, writing stuffs about news breaking. Well, it looks as if you might still have to rely on the traditional media for verification and professional details of what's happening out there. And that's what we're doing here on Core TV News, bringing you the news, the views, in-depth analysis as they happen. This Saturday is the day, no doubt the D-Day for Nigerians, where another new page will open in the political history book of our dear country. Of course, our correspondents are there already. We spoke earlier with our correspondent in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, who is presently at the INEC headquarters there, of course, updating us on situations there. Of course, Otuoke in Bayelsa State is another very interesting place as we count down to the election. Of course, Daura in Katsina will also be bringing you live feeds from all of these places as we count down to the general elections. Well, that wraps it today on Core Digest. A big thank you to the production crew. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Do join us again tomorrow for another exciting edition. Don't forget, at 5:30 in the evening, we'll open the studios yet again to bring you updates as we count down to the election. Stick around for the top of the hour news. Don't go away.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, sir. How are you, Mr. President? How is sir? How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.